Today we delve into a significant and evolving topic, the impact of China's diplomacy in Africa. This relationship has transformed remarkably over the past few decades, marking a profound shift in global economic and geopolitical landscapes. China's involvement in Africa has brought about considerable economic development, infrastructure improvements, and political influence, reshaping the continent's future. We will explore how this diplomacy has unfolded, its benefits, challenges, and the broader implications for Africa and the world. China's engagement in Africa can be traced back to the mid-20th century, but it was in the late 1990s and early 2000s that it truly began to intensify. This period saw the launch of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, or FOCAC, in 2000, which formalized and expanded bilateral ties. Through FOCAC, China and African nations established a structured framework for economic cooperation, political dialogue, and socio-cultural exchanges. This forum has since become a cornerstone of Sino-African relations, meeting every 3 years to review progress and set new goals. One of the most visible impacts of China's diplomacy in Africa is in the realm of infrastructure development. Chinese firms have been involved in constructing roads, railways, ports, and airports across the continent. These projects have not only improved connectivity within African countries, but have also facilitated trade and investment, both regionally and internationally. Notable examples include the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, which has significantly reduced travel time between Ethiopia and Djibouti, and the Mombasa-Nairobi Standard Gauge Railway in Kenya, which has revolutionized transport between these two key cities. China's investment in Africa's infrastructure is not limited to transportation. It also extends to energy, telecommunications, and urban development. Chinese companies have built numerous power plants, including hydroelectric, coal-fired, and renewable energy projects, addressing the critical energy deficits that many African countries face. In telecommunications, Chinese firms like Huawei and ZTE have been instrumental in expanding mobile and internet connectivity, bringing digital services to millions of Africans. Economic cooperation between China and Africa goes beyond infrastructure. Trade between the two has grown exponentially, with China becoming Africa's largest trading partner. This relationship has provided African countries with new markets for their raw materials and commodities, while China benefits from a steady supply of these resources needed to fuel its own economic growth. Additionally, Chinese investment in Africa has created jobs and spurred local industries, contributing to economic diversification and growth. However, the impact of China's diplomacy in Africa is not without its challenges and criticisms. One major concern is the debt that many African countries have accumulated due to Chinese loans for infrastructure projects. Critics argue that these debts are unsustainable and could lead to a debt crisis similar to what some countries experienced in the past. There are fears that this could result in increased Chinese influence over indebted countries, potentially compromising their sovereignty. Another point of contention is the nature of Chinese investments and labor practices. There have been allegations that Chinese firms often bring in their own workers for projects, limiting job opportunities for local populations. Furthermore, there are concerns about the environmental and social impacts of some projects, with accusations that certain ventures have not adhered to international standards for environmental protection and labor rights. Despite these challenges, it is undeniable that China's diplomacy has had a transformative impact on Africa. The continent has seen unprecedented levels of infrastructure development, economic growth, and technological advancement. Many African leaders and policymakers view China as a valuable partner in their development agendas, appreciating the speed and scale at which Chinese projects are implemented. China's influence in Africa also extends to the political and diplomatic arenas. Beijing has been actively involved in peacekeeping missions, conflict resolution, and humanitarian assistance across the continent. China's non-interference policy, which respects the sovereignty of African nations and avoids imposing political conditions on aid and investment, has been particularly appealing to many African governments. This approach contrasts with the often criticized conditional aid from Western countries and institutions, which many Africans view as paternalistic. In addition to bilateral relations, China has been a strong advocate for African interests in multilateral forums. For instance, China has supported African representation in international organizations such as the United Nations and has called for the reform of global governance structures to better reflect the interests of developing countries. This advocacy aligns with China's broader strategy of building a coalition of developing nations to counterbalance Western dominance in global affairs. As we continue to explore the impact of China's diplomacy in Africa, let's take a moment to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth analyses and discussions on important international issues. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspectives. Looking ahead, the future of China-Africa relations will likely be shaped by several key factors. Firstly, the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, launched by China in 2013, will continue to play a significant role. Many African countries have signed up for BRI projects, which aim to enhance global trade and investment through massive infrastructure development. These projects are expected to further integrate African economies into global value chains and improve their competitiveness. Secondly, the evolving geopolitical landscape will influence Sino-African relations. As tensions between China and Western powers, particularly the United States, continue to rise, Africa may become a strategic battleground for influence. African countries will need to navigate these dynamics carefully, balancing their relationships with China and traditional Western partners to maximize their development benefits while maintaining their sovereignty and strategic autonomy. Thirdly, the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of health diplomacy in China-Africa relations. China has been at the forefront of providing medical supplies, vaccines, and technical assistance to African countries. In their fight against the pandemic, this cooperation is likely to deepen, with future collaborations focusing on building resilient healthcare systems and improving public health infrastructure across the continent. Finally, the sustainability and inclusivity of Chinese investments will be crucial. As African countries become more aware of the long-term impacts of foreign investments, there will be increasing demands for transparency, environmental protection, and social responsibility. Chinese firms and the Chinese government will need to adapt to these expectations to maintain their positive influence and ensure mutually beneficial partnerships. In conclusion, the impact of China's diplomacy in Africa is multifaceted and significant. It has driven unprecedented infrastructure, development, economic growth, and technological advancement, positioning China as a key partner in Africa's development journey. While there are challenges and criticisms, the overall trajectory of Sino-African relations appear positive, with both sides committed to deepening their cooperation. Thank you for joining us in this detailed exploration of China's diplomacy in Africa. Your engagement is crucial to our mission of providing insightful and balanced analyses of global issues. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Share this video with others who might be interested, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. As we witness these historic developments unfold, it becomes clear that the relationship between China and Africa will continue to shape the future of the continent and the broader global landscape. Together, let's stay informed and engaged with these critical issues, exploring the transformative potential of international diplomacy and cooperation. Your support and participation are invaluable, and we look forward to bringing you more insightful content in the future.